So today I'll present you a topic, ProPeek, OpenEdge application profiling in VSCode. So I think on the program it was only OpenEdge application profiling in VSCode. We added the name of the extension we created for this profiling. So yeah, I'm just explaining why it's different. So the first question actually for you is, why are you here? So much of you, because we have in the other session this person, this famous face, and also this one. So why did you came to me? I don't understand. So we'll see. So about me, I'm Paulius. I'm from Lithuania. I worked with OpenEdge for a bit more than 5 years. I'm passionate and I'm interested in tooling for developers, and I'm still studying my master degree of software engineering. About Baltic Amadeus, so Baltic Amadeus is very experienced software development company. We'll have 35th birthday next week, so 30 years plus of experience. We have experience in multiple fields and technologies, a lot of customers in Europe and the United States. And our progress unit, working with progress since 2003, we have more than 40 specialists. I think now it's like 45. The average age is only 32 years old. You see here, I think it's the average of the white people here is a bit smaller. Oh, sorry, white T-shirt people. I'm sorry for that, but yeah. So, but in general, our average year is average age is quite low. We have a lot of experience with progress. We are a progress service delivery partner and a licensed reseller, and we are experienced in various business areas. We work with multiple frameworks, yeah, so please contact us if you want some help. If you need some help, we are always ready to help you. Yeah, this slide should not be here. So, agenda for today, I will introduce you to VSCode, which is not really necessary because we had a presentation before, so I will glide it through in a faster pace. Then I will talk about OpenEdge profiling in general. Then I will talk about ProPeek, the extension we created to help with that. And I will show a demo of ProPeek, and finally we'll talk about what's next. So intro to VSCode, as I said, yeah, the slide is not necessary. I think maybe someone is here who didn't visit previous presentation in this room. Yeah, there are some people. So, but I think the crowd is similar. So I think we don't need to raise hands. I saw the results of who uses VSCode and who uses VSCode and who doesn't. In general, in the software engineering world, VSCode is quite popular. So I saw Giles had a slide of 3 screenshots, so I put into one chart the same data, and I also put Eclipse as a comparison because our Dev Studio is based on Eclipse, so it's sort of the case we can compare. And as you see, the popularity of VSCode is increasing, or it's like probably there is no place even to increase. It's like almost everyone, and Eclipse is slowly dying. And when we talk about progress community, we have this nice data from OpenEdge product roadmap survey from last year. I took a screenshot of that. So as you can see, most developers are using Procedure Editor or PDSOE, so Developer Studio, a Builder, Common Text Editors, or Visual Studio also, and final VSCode has the smallest percentage, but I think this number will increase next year in the next OpenEdge product roadmap survey. So I think it has its potential. So what is VSCode? I think most of you know what it is. So it's open source. It's created by Microsoft. It is supported on multiple operating systems, so Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and it's very flexible and easily extendable. That's why we are creating extensions for that. And for other technologies or other cases, there are multiple thousands or even tens of thousands of extensions created for many different things like linters, debuggers, testing, visualization purposes, or automation. I think Giles gave an example about some obscure programming language, which even it has an extension for it, so it's quite a lot. And the architecture of the VS Code is it is divided into two parts. Basically, it's a web app on the on Electron framework, so you can run it on your local machine, which most of us do. But also, you can use such services, which are now getting quite popular, as Gitpod or GitHub code spaces, which basically provides development environment on their side. You just need to configure stuff, and it works on some cloud provider, and you connect through web, and you don't need to have like a powerful machine to do some demanding tasks. So I think it's a next generation, the next step into development process. Yeah, and what's related to VS Code plus OpenEdge. So for now, if you would search in the marketplace of VS Code, you would see 8 results now. One of them is OpenEdge ABL, which is the main now extension for language support, and there are 2 now extensions created by us in Baltic Amadeus. So the one ProBro was presented last year. We worked on that through this year and improved that a lot. I will mention it a bit later. And today I will present you more ProPeek extension we created for looking and analyzing profiler output files. Yeah, so this is just a mention, but I think you know about that from the last presentation. And this is ProBro, the extension we created last year. It's to access database. So as you know, probably as you imagine, it's for every OpenEdge developer, it's important to access a database. You cannot work without access to database, to its data, its structure. So to have full potential, to enable full potential of VS Code, you need to have this possibility to access this database. And we created it with this VS Code extension. I will just show you screenshots. I don't want to show demo because this is not the point today, but just to show you how it looks, and that it was developed through last year. So we created a lot of functionality. We added some support for exporting for different configurations, and especially to allow you to simplify configuration. So you could use also configuration files which are created and provided by language extension. So it reuses it reuses DLC, it reuses database connections. So it would be seamless connection to the database without any additional configuration if it works. But I hear very often that there are some issues, so it's still in development and it's fully open source. You can create issues to us. You can join yourself to do some coding if you want. You can fork it. It's fully open sourced. So please feel free to join to this project. Yeah, and going back to the main topic today. Profiling in VS Code. So I think most of you, can you raise hands who at least once did some profiling on OpenEdge? Yeah, almost everyone, yeah. So I think everyone knows that there are some, when you do that, you get some file, which is like a bunch of numbers, and you put this file into Developer Studio, and it shows you some nicer tables and stuff. So we have some experience with that. A few years ago, we wrote a parser for tracing, and so we had some knowledge about that, how to do that. But yeah, to launch it, it's very simple. You have a bunch of starting commands to start, and then you run your procedures, and then you can end it. You can also launch it in different ways, but basically that's the main way to evaluate your OpenEdge application's performance when it goes to time performance. What I heard from Progress people that it's coming, and I didn't have a look. Maybe it's possible to see what's going on customer validation program, but I didn't look. But there is this new feature coming called the performance profiling, which will look into the memory performance, as I understand. Yeah, and following up, the output, as I said, it's just a bunch of numbers, a bunch of symbols, and there are 4 different versions now from 12.2. If you generate profiler files from 12.2, you would get version 3 or version 4. If you do it on previous versions, you would get version 1 or version 2. And the main difference between 2 and 4 and versus 1 and 3 is that it has when you enable profiler statistics. So that's a minor difference here. And there are 8 main sections describing data. So in this file, we are separated by dots, and you can see session, module data, call graphs, line summary, tracing, coverage, and user. So a lot of data, and it's quite hard to try to look into it yourself. So of course you use this tool. It's inside Developer Studio, coming out of the box. You have the module details, you have calling and called modules, and also you have below line summary, and I think there is, yeah, also next tab has call tree data and AVM information. So some nice features to see, to browse through your profiler file, but we thought that it's possible to improve that. So ProPeek, it's an extension, as I said, to VSCode. So we already have had some experience how to create extensions in VSCode, so it was not so difficult to us. So what was the issue with, as I mentioned, with Developer Studio? It's on Developer Studio. If you try to use VSCode as your main development environment, you're not happy opening Developer Studio, once, like every day or something like that. It's only on Windows, so again, and lack of visuals, because the data itself has more information than it shows here, actually, and it can be presented in better ways. So the idea was to, again, write extension in VS Code, to also have some possibilities to start profiling. This is just a very simple thing I will show you, but to help you with that, easy to open results files, better visuals, as I said, comparable performance. That was the target, to make it performance comparable to what Developer Studio does, and to make it full open source. Again, it's on a GitHub and now on Visual Studio Code Marketplace. So the main features we created, we recreated features from Developer Studio. So we have module details, calling modules, line summary, call tree. But what we added new, it's a call frame graph. So I will show you it during demo. We also added some filtering and search options for this call flame graph. And also we added some code snippets. I will show you that. So this is how it looks, but I think we can go to, or yeah, we can still keep here. So the tech stack, just to mention to you how it's developed. So actually, to use this extension, you don't need Progress installation at all, actually. It's just taking a file, parsing it, and displaying the data in a correct way. So we use React for front-end side, Node for JS. Everything is inside VSCode. So this, you don't need anything else, just VSCode. And as I mentioned, no Progress is needed. So it fits into VSCode architecture. You have front-end, we chose React as a front-end framework for those few views we created, and we use basically Node in the backend, as VSCode is written mostly in Node way. So let's go to demo. Give me a second. Can you see something? Yeah, okay, so let's go to a demo. So first, I will show you just a very simple example. I actually yesterday created this little project to show you how it looks. So it starts with in VS Code. I use VS Code plugin for the language purposes. So I have configurations like here. I don't have database. It's just a simple few classes to have some methods and to show that how the profiling works. So if we go to the main, here I added profiling configuration. So to simplify that, we created in this extension very simple way. It's just you can start typing pro, and you will see prof end and prof start. So prof start will create you those lines here for starting profiling, and if you do the same for prof end, it will create you end. So it's just reduce like 10 seconds of your work, or just from you don't need to look somewhere to copy and paste this code. So it's just to simplify things. The other thing I will show you, maybe what I forgot actually, is to show how to get this extension. So if you go here and you try to search ProPeek, it should appear, I think, yeah, it's here. So it's very simple in VS Code. You have this button for extensions. You just download it, or in this case, I have it already, but you disable, enable it, and this is very simple operation. It's very simple extension, so it doesn't require even restarting something or something like that. So it doesn't require much input from here. So when you have your profiler enabled in your, let's say, start main procedure, which calls like another procedures to launch some classes which do some just random logic here to make it a bit more complicated for this example. When you try to launch it, let's launch it with run with progress command. So I press Ctrl-Shift-P, it launches command palette, and you get a bunch of commands. If you try to write ABL, this is not our command, this is from language extension. So you get run with progress, and you run it, and it will open the terminal, which give me UTF warning. And yeah, so it started, it ended, and the file actually was created here. I think maybe it was here already. Maybe let's make it full example. So let's remove it. Yeah, so file is here. So how to actually now, so we get generated this file. So how to open our extension? So if you click on this file, you already see this profiler file, which is quite standard, definitions on top and some zeros and ones and stuff in below. There are actually three ways how to open. To simplify things, if you click right mouse button, you get here show profiler button. If you click here, you will also see it here, or you can open it through this little button on top. So let's try it. And what it shows you very similar way. In very simple data shows shows data in very similar way as Developer Studio does. It shows you the main routines which were called. It shows you modules calling and called modules. It allows you to search for things. And yeah, so this functionality is quite similar. There are nothing here dramatic. Also, I'm sorry that this on smaller screens it looks a bit sometimes packed. If you have a normal monitor, it would look a bit better. This is first view, so this is just a module details view. If you go to tree view, you would get a tree structure, again, the same as Developer Studio shows, so it's just a bunch of, just a table with a tree structure inside. You click, and you go deep into code. So again, this is the same functionality. We basically migrated this functionality from Developer Studio. What's new actually with this extension, and this is the main point of this extension, what we created so far, is we created this flame graph. So again, this is very simple example. It doesn't show actually anything really useful because it's just a few methods calling each other, and nothing fancy, nothing problematic. So you can click onto elements here, and you can see what called what. Basically, you can see that start procedure called start method in logic class. This called add one method in logic my code, which A is abstract class in this case, just to show you that it works. It shows inheritance here and so on. So this is pretty simple thing. It doesn't show anything much here. We have also possibility to see constructors or destructors of course, in object-oriented programming. So constructors are shown as green, destructors as red. So we can see that my printer is a constructor of my printer class. And yeah, so, and also we have empty search possibility. We can just write something and we can see where is my logic used. So again, very simple. There is I'm not really showing you anything interesting here because it's a very simple example. But let's go to something what is a bit more complicated. Let's go to an example. Yeah, so let's go to another recent. Yeah, so again, this is example. It's actually is anonymized. We have a bunch of classes named module something, module and some numbers. We wrote anonymization because it's hard to get profiling is related to some issues usually, and you don't want to show big issues in presentations. So we have anonymized it. What you see here is a huge file, 1 million lines. And if you click on, let's say now on this show profiler, you would get, it takes usually like 3 seconds because it's a bigger file. And you get this data again. Here, again, it's quite similar. As you can see, you can scroll almost endlessly through modules, through methods and class and procedures. You see everything here as in Developer Studio. Again, tree view, same story, similar. But what I want to show is flame graph. Flame graph is a bit more interesting because here, as you can see, with this complex example, there are a bunch of stuff visible, and you can see the call tree, basically which routine called what, and that allows you to see possible issues. And let's click on something. Let's click on the small area here, and if you click, it expands, and you can see more, and you can see what is calling here. And you click on that, and it shows you more. So this is the main feature now here. You can see a lot of stuff happening. You can iterate through it. So this is, I think this is the most helpful area of this extension, helpful view to show these kind of flame graph, as it's called. If you click on constructors, so basically we have 3 dimensions here. If you look horizontally, it's time. So the most what covers the full length, the full width of this window, it takes 100% of time. The small things are usually something very small. Colors gives us the 3rd dimension. It gives a possibility to see in this case how long it took to run this code. If you click on constructor destructor, we can see constructors or destructors. So we can see this green one. Actually took a bit of time, it launches a few more stuff. If you click on another, let's say here somewhere, you also see some constructors. Some are very fast, very simple, and you can iterate, you can go deep into your code and see what happens inside it. And again, the last filter we have now is search. So again, for searching, you want something like module 13, and it will show module 13 marked. You click here, you see a bunch of stuff happening here. So it's also maybe interesting to people who want to see dependencies. You can try to search something like some path or some package of your code, and you can see where it's used and how it's connected. So again, I will not show you much more examples actually. I think the best example for you, it would be to try your own software to run it and to see what you can see using this extension. I think I showed most of the things. What I think missed is one little thing which we created also. I will open the first example. So let's launch this very simple example. Again, so what we also added is a possibility to, as we call it, to jump to code. So we have these methods here, and if you double click on something, let's say click on start, we can jump to this class. For now, it's not implemented to jump to the specific method or line of code, because for that we would need language server, and maybe it's possible to do it in the future, but for now it's just jumping to a file. And how it works again very simple. In simple way, we use this OpenEdge project JSON. So we have our ProPath here, and we just do a search on this ProPath. So of course, if you do your profiling on some let's say testing environment, not on your local machine maybe, to jump to the code, you would need to have completely same code structure as you profiled. So that maybe not always is the case, but in general, it's the possibility is here to click on something and to jump to code. In the future, we would like to create something like vice versa option, to have possibility to, if you have profiler files opened, you would have a possibility to jump to code, to jump to profiler file out of the code. So you can go to something like here, like a class, and you click on a class in some way, and you would go to a profiler and see how it behaves, basically. So, but that's for future. For now, I think the main, I covered the main things. So again, I encourage you to try it, and also to try VSCode in general for progress, because it's quite easy to set up, I think, and it's now starting to get even, in some ways, even better than Developer Studio. Though it still lacks some features, but in general, it's starting to be useful and very practical way of writing OpenEdge code. Maybe I will now, let's go to the slides. So, I'm trying, yeah, okay, let's now do all the clicking. Yes, so after demo goes conclusion. So, as I said, I cannot show you much about that because it's the best way to use this extension is to actually use it, to try it with your own code, because it's just a visualization tool for you, for your profiler files. So I encourage you to do that. We still have room for improvement. We still have crashing with some huge files. I think it's still an issue. I think we are fixing it slowly and fixing, but it's still we have some problems. There are some lack of features in the flame graph. It just allows you to browse it, but we would like to see more. We would like to see time. We would like to see, again, maybe jumping to code. So for that, we probably will switch a component we use for now in the front-end side. Also some minor things like adding progress bar and also a bunch of bugs and stuff which is present because it was developed in a few months before this presentation. Yeah, and we have some ideas, as I mentioned, to simplify launching profiling maybe. Also more filtering and searching options. So as you saw, we have like basically 3 options. There are possibilities to do more with that. Again, as I said, jumping to code, jumping vice versa from code to profiler files. And yeah, what we can also do is maybe to integrate some other statistics files related to progress, to read them, to also display them. And I don't know anything at the moment about memory profiling with progress, but maybe it might somehow might be incorporated into this extension if there are some possibilities. Yeah, so for now, I think, so it took me less time, I think, that it was expected, as always. Because I always forget something what I wanted to say. So I skip some things. So feel free to join. We have a GitHub repository for that. It's open. You can browse it. You can see bugs. We have Marketplace. So VSCode Marketplace. For some reason, it said Visual Studio. So it should be VSCode Marketplace, of course. VSCode Marketplace. Or you can just go to your VSCode and download it, and you will see, and it's quite easy to set up. It's easier to set up than ProBraw extension for database browsing, so I think you can easily try out your profiler files if you have some to look. Yeah, so basically, that's it. Do you have any questions? We have some time, so if you want, we can discuss about something, or I can show you something more. So yeah, so what I can tell you that actually even before this presentation, I gave this extension to one of our projects, and it actually helped them a lot to see the issues in code using this flame graph and to actually improve and as they said, to encourage management, to show it to management almost to say that, okay, this is what we can improve, this is what where the issues lie. So I think that might be actually helpful for multiple projects. When you have huge code base, you need to understand how it's connected, and to have this visualized flame graph it's quite beneficial, I think. So I encourage you to try it again. So if you have no questions, we can finish earlier. Thank you.